Overnight downpours dumped 5 to 8 inches of rain on the region, and southeastern Ohio remains submerged today. A powerful derecho tore through the Midwest on August 11th, leaving a swath of damage stretching from Iowa to the Ohio Valley. The storm has claimed at least 2 lives so far. More than 800,000 homes and businesses lost electricity, and rising floodwaters left whole villages isolated. This is shaping up to be a historic flood event. Dayton just shattered a rainfall record that had stood for over a century since 1915. Here's a full breakdown of what happened and what to expect in the days ahead. Let's start with what actually triggered this, because it was nothing like an ordinary summer storm. The Storm Prediction Center has given preliminary confirmation that the system moving from eastern Iowa into northern Indiana was, in fact, a derecho. If that term is new to you, a derecho is a long-lived, widespread windstorm driven by a fast-moving band of thunderstorms. Picture it as a straight-line version of a hurricane. Sustained, damaging winds sweeping across a massive stretch of land, but pushing forward in a line rather than spinning. This particular derecho kicked off around 7 a.m. Central Time in Iowa on August 11th and pushed across Indiana by early afternoon. The strongest wind gust recorded during the event hit 99 miles per hour in Gary, Indiana. At the same time, a separate but connected round of severe storms was bearing down on Columbus and southeastern Ohio, and those storms are what produced the extraordinary rainfall totals we're about to cover. Let's look at where the damage hit hardest, starting with Perry and Muskingum counties in southeastern Ohio. Between midnight and the morning of August 11th, radar and rain gauge data confirmed 5 to 8 inches of rain fell across central Perry County and northwestern Morgan County. For context, that kind of rainfall total in a single event is more typical of a tropical storm making landfall than a summer derecho. New Lexington, the seat of Perry County, was overwhelmed. Streets became rivers, cars were submerged, and buildings flooded fast. Crooksville and Roseville, 2 small towns along the Muskingum River corridor, ended up among the hardest-hit communities in the state. Roseville, home to roughly 1,500 people, was nearly cut off entirely by rising water, with officials reporting that at one point only a single road remained passable in or out of town. That isolation turned deadly. One person in Roseville died during a medical emergency because floodwaters kept first responders from reaching them in time. Governor Mike DeWine confirmed the death at a Tuesday press conference, calling it a stark example of how lethal flash flooding can be. About 60 miles northwest, in Columbus, a separate cluster of storms rolled through around 10 a.m., bringing straight-line winds that gusted to 82 miles per hour at John Glenn Columbus International Airport. That system knocked down trees and power lines, damaged homes and cars, and flooded streets throughout the city, with the south side taking the brunt of it. At the peak of the outages, roughly 100,000 Ohio customers were without power Tuesday afternoon alone. In Dayton, too, 0.7 inches of rain fell on August 11th, enough to break the city's previous daily rainfall record of 1.86 inches, a mark that had stood since 1915. Meanwhile, in Lorain County northwest of Cleveland along Lake Erie, lightning struck Grafton Correctional Institution during the evening storms. 16 incarcerated individuals were hospitalized, one via medical helicopter, though no deaths resulted from that incident. This wasn't confined to Ohio either. Illinois, Indiana, and Kentucky all took a beating from the same system, and combined, the 4 states saw more than 800,000 utility customers lose power. As of 3:30 p.m. Wednesday, Ohio alone still had upwards of 171,000 customers without electricity. Here's the thing about a rain event this intense: the flooding doesn't end when the storm does. Water keeps draining into creeks, streams, and rivers for hours, sometimes days, afterward. Early Wednesday morning, the Muskingum River at Beverly measured 29.6 feet above its 29-foot flood stage, with the National Weather Service forecasting a crest near 29.8 feet before it slowly receded below flood stage that afternoon. The Hocking River at Athens is another one worth watching. It sat at 18 feet Wednesday morning, with forecasters expecting it to climb past its 20-foot flood stage that afternoon and crest around 27 feet by evening. Moderate flooding for the Athens area, Sunday Creek at Gloucester was already in moderate flood stage Tuesday evening, with Ohio Route 13 and multiple streets in Gloucester, Trimble, and Jacksonville underwater. Numerous roads remain shut down across Perry, Morgan, Athens, and Washington counties, and officials continue urging people to stay off the roads and never attempt to drive through standing floodwater. Now let's cover current road closures so you can plan accordingly if you're traveling through the region. West Athens Road near Ohio 93 in Roseville, one of the community's main access points, remains shut down. Ohio Route 13 is flooded in multiple locations through the Gloucester area, and local roads in Trimble and Jacksonville are still impassable. Crews from the Ohio Department of Transportation, the Ohio State Highway Patrol, and the Ohio Department of Natural Resources are on site assessing the damage and clearing debris. Muskingum County EMA Director Jeff Jadwin described the damage across the county as widespread, with crews expecting many more hours of work ahead to clear debris and get roads reopened. Governor DeWine declared a state of emergency for Perry and Muskingum counties Tuesday afternoon, opening the door to state recovery resources, and activated the Ohio National Guard's High Water Rescue Unit to support operations in Roseville and Crooksville. 40 guardsmen from the 1,484th Transportation Company in North Canton and the 1,485th Transportation Company in Coshocton deployed with 20 tactical vehicles. Shelters opened at Crooksville High School and Middle School, as well as the Perry County Fairgrounds, to house residents displaced by the flooding. DeWine toured the affected areas Wednesday, meeting with displaced residents and telling them, "These are resilient communities and they will come back from this." Zooming out, the derecho that struck Ohio was just one piece of a much larger severe weather outbreak across the Midwest. The National Weather Service office in the Quad Cities confirmed 3 EF1 tornadoes touched down in Delaware County, Iowa, tied to the same system that produced the derecho. NWS Chicago confirmed 5 separate tornadoes in the metro area, including a significant EF2 that tracked from Momence, Illinois to Crown Point, Indiana, with peak winds between 111 and 135 miles per hour. 2 of those tornadoes crossed into Indiana. An EF1 moved through Munster, while the EF2 carved a path through Lake County into Crown Point. Tragically, a 4-year-old boy was killed in Geneva Township, Jennings County, Indiana, when a tree fell onto a home's bedroom during the storm. Altogether, this ranks among the most significant severe weather events to hit the Midwest this summer, and full recovery will take time. Looking ahead, the next 48 hours are critical for flood recovery efforts. Right now, the ground across southeastern Ohio is fully saturated. The soil simply can't take on any more water. That means even a modest rainfall in the coming day or two could set off new flash flooding almost immediately, with little to no warning time. There is some good news here. Thursday, August 13th, is shaping up to be the more favorable of the next 2 days for southeastern Ohio. Perry County and the New Lexington area can expect highs in the low to mid-80s with just a 20% chance of rain, giving rescue and cleanup crews a genuine window to work. Columbus is looking at a similar setup Thursday, mostly dry, highs near 84 degrees Fahrenheit, and rain chances holding around 20%. So if you're part of a first responder team, a utility crew, or a resident trying to survey the damage, Thursday is the day to get it done. But listen closely here, because Friday changes the picture significantly. The National Weather Service still has a flood watch in effect across southeastern Ohio through Friday, August 14th morning, covering 9 counties: Athens, Gallia, Jackson, Lawrence, Meigs, Morgan, Perry, Vinton, and Washington, all already dealing with ongoing flooding. Friday's forecast brings a 75% chance of rain back to Perry County and the wider southeastern Ohio region. NWS has warned that soils remain saturated and creeks and streams are already running high, so additional rounds of thunderstorms could bring heavy rain and renewed flash flooding. The Hocking River at Athens is expected to stay near or above flood stage into Friday evening, meaning any fresh rainfall on that watershed will make conditions notably worse. Bottom line, this isn't the moment to let your guard down. The flood risk Friday is real, immediate, and could rival what hit the region Tuesday. Now, a broader look at weather across the rest of the country. The northern plains and upper Midwest are quieting down behind this system as high pressure moves in from Canada. Along the Gulf Coast, Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, expect hot, humid conditions with isolated afternoon storms through the weekend, fairly standard for August. Out west, the desert Southwest remains in an active monsoon pattern, with Phoenix, Tucson, and Albuquerque likely to see afternoon and evening thunderstorms and a risk of localized flash flooding in burn scar areas. The Pacific Northwest is enjoying its classic dry late summer stretch, with Seattle and Portland seeing mid-70s highs and low wildfire concern for now. Along the East Coast, from the Carolinas up into New England, expect warm, partly cloudy conditions with nothing major on the horizon in the next few days. One last note before wrapping up. We're in the heart of Atlantic hurricane season, and the tropics are worth watching closely. As of now, there are no named storms threatening the continental U.S., though the National Hurricane Center is tracking areas of disturbed weather in the Atlantic. If you're in Florida, along the Gulf Coast, or anywhere on the eastern seaboard, now's the time to make sure your hurricane plan is in place. Any tropical development that could threaten the U.S. coastline will be covered as soon as it emerges. Pulling it all together, this remains an active, unfolding situation across the Ohio Valley, and it isn't over. If you're in Perry, Muskingum, Athens, or the surrounding counties, you're not out of danger yet. Friday's rain threat is serious and deserves real caution. Never drive through floodwater. 6 inches of moving water can knock a person off their feet, and 2 feet can carry away most vehicles. If you live in any of the 9 counties under the flood watch, make a plan, know your evacuation routes, and keep weather alerts active on your phone. This story will keep developing, and updates will follow as new forecast data comes in, especially as the Friday rain threat moves into the weekend. Stay safe out there.